Juliet and welcome to St Asaph Cathedral's summer craft activity called Translators Treasure Trove. We are going to be inspired today by the Welsh Bible translators who in the 16th century translated the Bible into Welsh, which was a key event in Welsh history. We're going to explore the wonderful world of the Welsh Bible translators. There's a fantastic film created by St Asaph Cathedral that you can watch, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to make your own treasure trove filled with a map, figures and a horse inspired by history. Because it's a longer activity, I have divided the videos into 3 parts. Part 1 I will show how to age a map, part 2 we will decorate the treasure box, and part 3 we'll make the figures and a horse and bring it all together. So if you've picked up your craft bag from the cathedral, inside you'll have a range of goodies. You'll have the images of the Welsh Bible translators with the names next to them. You'll have a little template to create the translators, to create them into little finger puppets. You will have a piece of, it's called Crayola Model Magic. It's a bit like an air-dried clay. It's very lightweight. Keep it in the bag so it won't dry out and you use it just when you need it. You've got a range of lovely decorative items such as sticky gems and some metallic strips. There's a split pin in there, just be careful, it is a little bit sharp on the end. That's in a bag. You have a box that you will create into your treasure trove box, and you have an A3 map. Now the map is an historical map of Wales, and we've put a little pin, can you see where St Asaph Cathedral is, and also we've put a little pin where St David's Cathedral is, because 2 of the Welsh translators, William Morgan and Richard Parry, used to travel quite extensively between the 2. What we're going to do is age this map. So if you ask an adult to make a hot cup of tea, no milk, and leave it to steep and go very strong until it's completely cold. Please do ask an adult and be very careful. Do not use it unless it's completely cold. Before we use that cold tea, we're going to actually rip the edges of the map. Can you see it has a border that is around it? So if you rip the edges, just be careful not to rip any of the pattern or the text that is already on the map. So here's one I've started to rip. You see I've ripped the edges, and all I do is I just very carefully try and create a nice decorative wavy edge, and there we have the map ready to stain with tea. Now I've put some kitchen towel down, I've got a plastic tablecloth, I've got my cold tea, and I'm going to get a little bit messy. So if you don't want to get your hands with tea on, pop a glove on. I'm just going to go straight in there, lovely cold tea bag there, and I'm going to use the tea bag as though it's a paintbrush. I'm lightly going to cover the map with tea so it's staining it to make it look nice and old, like so. So try not to put too much tea on, but obviously you want it to look a little bit like it's been around for hundreds of years. Right, once that's there, you could take another piece of kitchen towel and just take off any excess. You might have put a little bit too much tea on, might be a little bit too wet. There we go. Now this is the really tricky part because it's very fragile at the moment because it's wet. But what I'd like you to do is very carefully just scrunch it slightly. Gently, can you see how gentle I'm doing that? And then very carefully again, so it doesn't rip, open it out again. So now that looks pretty old, and what we need to do is pop that to one side so it's ready to dry. And if I just move these wet ones out the way, here's a few that have dried earlier. Now, if you don't want to, you could leave the border around the map. I think it looks quite nice when it has the ripped edges. Here's one that's been ripped, and then because the paper was folded originally, now it's dry, you should be able to carefully fold it back into the original shape. Ooh, a little bit of ripped bits fallen off, that's okay. Into antique map shape. So you can see they look beautifully aged. Pop those to one side and you're ready for the next part. Thank you for watching and see you in part 2.